What's going on, fish? Welcome back to the Coy Pond. As always, I'm joined by my esteemed guest and favorite co-host, K-Dog. And I'm Colin. Welcome back for another week of preseason football. Nothing too crazy, nothing too exciting. It's preseason football, but here we are once again.
About 15 days to go, I think.
Yeah, no, we're two more episodes. I guess 2 episodes after this one will be the day of the Thursday Night Football.
That's right.
And what's even better about week 1 this year is that we've got a Friday night game as well.
Right on.
We have that Brazil game, Eagles versus the Packers, that, all that green color shit was a big problem for there for a little bit. But nevertheless, we're 1 week closer to football. Life is good. How have you been?
Yes, it is. Doing great.
Heck yeah.
Just watching these preseason games and getting excited and starting to see more of who's going to make it, who's not going to make it, and can't wait to see how it all folds together once you put the regular starters in there with some of the newer talent that's clearly going to play a role on these teams.
No doubt there's been some people that have been claimed to have been Jesus for their respected NFL teams, and other people that are being absolutely clowned on for the exact same reasons. It's preseason. Everyone loves to overreact, underreact, and everything in between.
Yep.
It's the joy of the NFL season, but also it's kind of the fun of it is you get to completely overreact until they either rise to the occasion or get put in their place quite quickly.
Yep, exactly.
Yep, away we go. Might as well. Week 1, starters, if you're good to start there.
Sure.
Bo Nix, I'll just jump at it out of the gate. Good call from one of the listeners, if they are still a listener, who really knows, to be honest. But they're right. Week 1 starter, Bo Nix.
Yep.
Stidham and Zach Wilson, I guess, didn't put up much of a fight.
No.
You have to assume Sean Payton feels like he's finally got his guy after getting out of Russell Wilson for that crazy $80 million loss, dead cap hit, however the right wording
Insane.
is. But, Bo Nix has come out looking good. Another quarterback from Oregon, number 10 in the AFC West, that shows quite a potential.
Yeah.
It's preseason, but he looks good.
He does, and he becomes the first rookie to start for the Broncos since John Elway.
That's
so
nuts.
that is some pretty rare air right there.
Yeah, wow.
So, and this week I think Sean Payton talked a little bit about how he kind of intentionally misled the Raiders, and Bo Nix is who he wanted, and so during the draft he played a little gamesmanship there to kind of make them think he was going this way when he wanted to go that way to Bo Nix.
Yeah, as I heard about that story. I didn't watch the interview that he was explaining it on, but that's crazy to think that he kind of what was the movie Draft Day?
Yeah,
he kind of draft dayed the Raiders.
He did,
which is incredible that Sean Payton pulled it off. I mean, who knows the exact details, but that's hilarious that happened, and they still took a first round tight end.
Yeah,
given there's been other news about Brock Bowers probably being pretty good, as everyone thought, but it's crazy.
Yep.
Especially with the team, Aiden O'Connell, but just neither here nor there.
Well, and I think you got a great point there. I mean, it's true. I mean, Gardner Minshew is going to be the starter for the Raiders. I saw the Raiders firsthand because they played the Cowboys this week.
Oh, yeah.
So I can tell you neither one of them were very good. Gardner Minshew was clearly better. Gardner Minshew, as we all know, is not going to be a full season starter. It's just not going to be happening.
There's just no way.
Aiden O'Connell, he has some skill and talent to him. That's why they took him in the draft when they did.
Yep.
Actually, and so I don't know. We'll see, but they probably would prefer having Bo Nix right now to the two guys they have.
You would imagine. Even and again, I'll say it again. Even if you're not starting that rookie quarterback the first week, if you're on a kind of terrible team, it's not the end of the world. And the fact that the Raiders just decided to go with the tight end and got flea flickered by Sean Payton is crazy.
It makes no sense.
It goes to show. I mean, I don't know if you'd say that's what makes him an incredible coach by any means, but it's just one more thing,
It really is. Some of these guys, they're really good coaches. Some of these guys, the Belichick's, the Sean Paytons, the Bill Parcells going back to Jimmy Johnson's, those guys did the whole thing. They coached, and they also did the personnel parts of things too. Parcells was always famous for saying, I want to shop for the groceries. That was one of his big phrases. Why would I want to coach the team and not shop for the groceries?
Yeah.
So
no, for sure.
Yeah, and those coaches that seem to do that most of them do very well at it.
And you would assume once you have someone that you feel comfortable with, or someone that you can say, hey, this is kind of my legacy on this team, to make sure that they do well, it probably takes an extra step in their eyes at the very least.
Yeah.
But, congrats to the Broncos. Bo Nix looks great. That's probably the only shining point of that team.
Yeah.
Also, starting quarterbacks, Jayden Daniels was named quarterback week 1.
Commanders, yeah.
I don't even think that was a doubt, really. I think from the get-go, most people assumed there wasn't really a quarterback there that was going to be competing with him, at least in that position. And they always hint around they may not start, but that one felt a little different. Kind of similar to the Bears with Caleb Williams.
Exactly.
You just kind of assume. I haven't even read it anywhere, but I'm assuming Caleb Williams is starting in week 1.
I think that's
the plan from the beginning.
Yeah, probably
when he drafted.
Pretty much.
That's what it seems like.
So it just was never an issue, but it'll be interesting. The only difference there is you've got Matt Eberflus, who's established with the Bears. You got who's the guy for the Commanders?
Jayden Daniels or the coach Quinn?
Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn, thank you.
Yeah,
Quinn Johnson.
No. But Dan Quinn's new, so
right.
You got a new quarterback, you got a new coach, you got a new situation,
new running back, new wide receivers. I mean,
so
a lot of new over
interesting,
there.
Yeah.
I guess at the very least, what I will say is, regardless of rookie performances amongst the quarterbacks, of the starters that have been named so far, you look at the Bears and it's like that defense came into form last year. The O-line has they've made improvements at the O-line.
Yeah.
That's a little bit more of a positive situation. Jayden Daniels has surrounding him is a lot of new pieces that need to work together. I have no idea what Washington's O-line looks like, to be completely honest, but they've got Austin Eckler. They've got Scary Terry. I think they had another wide receiver. I, for the love of me, can't remember until week 1. But they got another weapon and new head coaching.
Yep.
So that's going to be a lot more that has to come together in a single season for it to be successful.
Agreed.
And then you have Bo Nix, which has a legendary coach himself, and then kind of the ragtag group of whatever's left from the last 5 years of the Broncos.
Exactly.
In Patrick Mahomes' division.
Right.
So,
yeah,
different situations everywhere. It'll be curious to see how everyone does throughout the whole thing.
And, just when, after last year, the way Mike Tomlin did things with the Steelers, we praised him. He did a great job coaching. There's no doubt about it. Another one of those guys.
Yep.
But, boy, this quarterback situation has not gotten much better than it was last season.
Yeah, so I should just look it up. I have no idea who's starting week 1 for the Steelers. It sounds like they don't either. I think Russ Wilson said he's starting Saturday in their next preseason game.
Yeah.
But after last week's performance, I think Steelers fans have realized they got 2 ass quarterbacks. They got them cheap.
They got them cheap. I don't know. I don't
crazy.
Even know. I mean, it's unless Russell Wilson somehow converts into, once the season starts, something.
And it is possible.
It just doesn't seem like Justin Fields has it going on right now.
It's a bad look out of the gate across the board. I mean,
agree.
It's not a good situation over there in Pittsburgh. I mean, do you look for Tannehill? Do you look for Fitzpatrick? Do you look for the Pastronaut?
Yeah.
I don't really mean it, but it is a bad situation over there, it seems like right now, based off all the headlines I've been reading.
Completely agree with you. I don't know what to
and
think
it's Mike
there.
Tomlin. That's the craziest part.
Yeah.
Mitchell Trubisky. They've had Kenny Pickett, who I guess is a third string on the Eagles now.
Yes.
Like, how has he done it all these years? Again, the Steelers have relied on their defense since Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
It's pretty evident of that. But, I mean, if you just give the dog a bone on offense, it feels like they'd be a lot better of a team immediately.
Yeah.
Given now they have Najee Harris, they don't have a second wide receiver now, or whoever they do have, I don't know. But it's insane. It's insane in Steelers land.
Yeah. I just don't know. So we'll have to watch that.
Yeah, that'll be
what comes out of it.
Week 1, that'll be or first few weeks. That'll be a fun one to kind of see how they deal with it.
Yeah.
But even with this last preseason game, it sounds like a lot could change.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
don't want to touch it.
Another quarterback situation that's kind of interesting that I wanted to mention, I forgot. So you got Brock Purdy in San Francisco.
Oh my God!
But
I love it.
They're 2 backups, but they've got Joshua Dobbs, who is doing really well. We said that last week. Again, those Tennessee guys, but Brandon Allen, another guy from Arkansas, I believe.
Okay.
I watched him play. They're loaded. I mean, those 2 guys could start if they had to have, something happened with Brock Purdy, God forbid. But
well, historically, it's not that crazy.
Yeah,
and I mean, sidetrack.
Both those guys are pretty darn good. So it's going to be really interesting to see who gets the backup job there. Mm-hmm. Similar thing in Dallas. Cooper Rush did as usual. A few passes, a few series.
Yep.
Trey Lance looked better. I don't care what anybody says. He was throwing the ball better than he did in week 1. He still has that running around ability too to scamper and make things happen. So, and Jerry just said, I think yesterday, he has made the 53-man roster. So who knows what Mike head coach of the Cowboys, Mike McCarthy thinks about it. I always want to say Mike Holmgren.
I was about to say Mike Holtz. I don't know why.
Mike McCarthy. Who knows what he thinks about it, but Jerry says he's made the roster.
I feel like right now, with I still got to put out the short video of your little rant about what going all in means for the Cowboys. But Jerry in his head, no matter what anybody else thinks, is going all in for your reason that this is the final attempt for this group.
Yeah,
it really feels like it. CD still doesn't have a deal.
Still no deal.
You would
Nothing
assume
more on Dak even. These are just keep going.
You feel like there's got to be things in the background. The fugazi of them not showing up to whatever. Is it CD that's not even practicing right now?
Not even practicing.
Yeah, and that's the same thing with Jamar Chase.
Yeah,
to my knowledge.
That's right.
Both of them the same similar.
And Ayuk is still.
He's hanging around, but he's not practicing. I don't think
it's not a done deal there. Either,
the deal's not done. Regardless, I should bite my tongue on stuff I can't remember. But the Cowboys, it feels like one of those things where Jerry's just gonna stand tall and see how bad the fire gets.
Well, they offered him $33 million reportedly, CD Lamb, and now he says it's not enough. Well, Justin Jefferson, I think, is $35 million, so he believes he should make $35 million. So the last thing I read this morning was that it was not about the amount; it was about the duration of the contract. So we'll see. We'll see what comes out of this.
Maybe that's more of a green. A happier light at the end of the tunnel than what it feels like right now.
Maybe.
I mean, it seems like every year more and more people hold out. You rarely see them hold out an entire year. Mm-hmm. But I guess once again we'll just have to see how it goes.
That's right. One other one too. We talked about Sam Howell maybe last week or the week before.
Yes, there was something about him.
So he looked solid for Seattle. Starting there. So again, they're going to have a good backup for Geno Smith, and for Tennessee. Malik Willis apparently looked pretty good, and then Mason Rudolph, the former Steeler, led the game-winning drive for the Titans.
What a crazy world we live in.
How mixed up is that, huh?
And isn't DiNucci on the third string for the Steelers now?
I think DiNucci's in there some. Yeah,
he's mixed in. I'll put a blurb up here. I can't remember. I remember seeing the headline, but fucking crazy times right now with quarterbacks.
It really is. It'll be interesting, huh?
It's gonna be crazy first few weeks.
Another one just to mention is Nick Mullins for the Vikings.
Okay.
Filling in there. So Sam Darnold now going to be the starter.
Yeah, that's not even a question.
So Nick Mullins did okay. 11 for 21, 135 and a touchdown.
Nice.
Had one big time throw, apparently.
Bad.
So the Vikings, as they try to figure out what their plan is there.
I can't imagine what kind of issue that threw in. Yeah. J.J. McCarthy going down is still so tragic.
It really is.
But, Sam Darnold won't be bad.
I don't think so. I think he'll get him through. And I think J.J. McCarthy, they said, is going to come back, they think.
Oh, really?
Maybe week 8, 9, 10, something like that.
Hell yeah. Good
so if Darnold can keep it together, I thought he was gone for the year. But
that's what I think the initial news reported was.
Yeah. Interesting what the Falcons are doing. So Kirk Cousins, of course, not playing.
Right.
But in addition to that, they've been resting Penix too.
I saw that.
So
the backup's getting rested.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting.
So you guarantee Kirk Cousins $100 million. Go out and draft a quarterback in the first round, pick 8, I think it was, or
I think so.
One of those picks.
Very controversial.
Yes. Penix comes out the first week or two of preseason, looks decent.
Yep, first week was decent.
And now you're
week 2, you're
treating him like he's a starting quarterback.
Like he's Kirk Cousins. Yeah. So
and here's the thing, is if Kirk Cousins gets hurt again, and they play Penix and this ends up being like a great quarterback, or at least having Kirk Cousins there as a veteran for $100 million, and this works out somehow, the Falcons are going to look like the smartest team there ever was.
Yeah.
But also, like, if Kirk Cousins goes on to play 2 or 3 years and Penix is still there, it's going to feel like the Trey Lance situation.
Right.
It's I don't get it. There's people smarter than me that made these decisions, and I, at least at the moment, have faith in them. But it's one of those things where I still can't figure it out.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I still think Taylor Heineke's going to wind up somewhere else.
He has to.
Yeah, I think he's kind of like, again, Gardner Minshew, maybe not quite as good.
Right.
But he's got the ability to carry you maybe for 4 or 5 weeks and get some wins out of that.
He'll get you through a stint where you have a hurt quarterback for sure.
Yep. But I just think they're gonna have a hard time in Atlanta if they try to move him to the practice squad.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's trying to sneak these players.
Yep.
And somebody's gonna pick him off of there. I'm sure of it. There's enough teams that are really in a bad situation quarterback wise. Yep. Someone's gonna take a chance on him.
I completely agree. And the Falcons then added Justin Simmons and Matthew Judon.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
That's hellacious.
Beefing up the defense. They picked, one of the best parts left of the Patriots.
Yep.
Picked literally one of the best parts left of the Broncos.
Yep.
And they were just like, just come on over here to Atlanta.
Yeah. Matt Judon was, crazy. You remember him from the red sleeves. If you ever watched the Patriots play, always had red sleeves. And he's everywhere. The guy is just a beast.
And I know that they got him for a 3rd rounder, I think.
I think so.
And we'll just go with that for the sake of conversation.
Hell of a deal for them.
Hell of a deal. And I know there's people saying, well, he's like 31, 33, somewhere in there. But it's like, dude, with that resume,
guy can play.
You can have him on there as just a fucking reference for all the other guys.
Yeah, it just strengthens the other side, and they look pretty good.
Kyle Pitts, Drake London. I don't
know how they don't make the playoffs.
Yes, I completely agree. It's wild to see all that coming together in Atlanta, just in general.
Yep. Now we know it's Kirk Cousins, so they're going to make the playoffs. I didn't say they were going to win a playoff game. So just to be clear.
Can you imagine if this came down, the NFC South came down to like the Saints versus the Falcons in New Orleans, and it's that Monday night game?
Yeah. I
could totally see it.
Yep. Or even Tampa Bay, maybe.
Maybe probably
Atlanta, Tampa Bay.
Probably more likely Tampa Bay. I could see, though, Derek Carr getting benched for Spencer Rattler.
Oh, I could big time see that. I fully expect by midseason, Spencer Rattler. The thing here is Spencer Rattler is just a baller. The guy he gets it done. Derek Carr could snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. He's just that kind of a quarterback.
I feel terrible saying it because it's been his whole career, but it's at this point, I really think it's coming on when it's going to happen. And I think them drafting Spencer Rattler and no one saying a thing about him is the perfect situation.
Yep.
Now, I don't know what weapons they have other than they have a great wide receiver over there from the Ohio State.
Yeah.
Chris Olave?
Yeah. Oh, he is fantastic.
This is my we'll just call this my zesty prediction because I have nothing to back it up. It's just my fucking feeling. Derek Carr is always kind of shot out during the season, looks amazing, and just plummets. Or maybe not plummets.
Yeah.
I just don't remember him doing as well in the second half of the season.
I think he just gets lost. It's like, I don't know. They just almost act like they don't care. They lose interest.
Derek Carr's catching massive strays today from us, but I could see them just being at some point in the season and saying Spencer Rattler comes in.
He's saying that he's worked on stuff at the off season. We'll see.
What season is this for him?
I don't know.
It has to be because he was with the Raiders for so long.
And he was there when John Gruden was there, right?
Oh yeah.
And I don't know. Oof, boy.
I'm gonna look it up real quick.
How long he's been there? Real quick while you're looking that up. Jaguars and Tampa Bay, they played. Mac Jones, I didn't realize he was with the Jaguars.
Oh, yes.
I forgot that. But he had 2 touchdowns and moved closer to securing the backup job there. So good for him,
Yeah, no, but out of everything that happened to Mac Jones, he's doing a lot better than Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
And I'd imagine at least being in the warmer weather maybe doesn't make him quite as depressed as New England was there for a bit.
Yeah.
That was real bad last year.
That was a brutal situation.
That was tough.
Yeah.
That was a not happy end to Belichick's career and not a great end for Mac Jones' time in New England.
No, it started out not so good and it just got worse.
I was going to say, compared to how it ended, it started out pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Derek Carr's been in the league since 2014. Last year...
We're talking about 10 years?
Yeah, this is his 10th season.
Good grief.
I'll give it to him, though. Last year was actually one of his better years.
Statistically,
on his rating, it was his 3rd best.
Okay.
Which is kind of impressive, honestly, but I just don't.
Probably because he had to throw so much with Kamara out.
Yeah, he had 4 seasons from 2018 to 2021 where he had over 4,000 yards. then 35, then 38 this past year.
Good grief.
But I guess I'll cool it on the slander. But I could see Spencer Rattler starting somehow.
Me too. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention Carson Wentz. Does anyone remember that name?
Oh my God, back on the Chiefs.
Yeah. So had a pretty good game actually. Playing. Obviously, Pat Mahomes played a little bit with the behind the back pass that everyone's talking about.
Yes.
But Carson Wentz had a touchdown pass and played pretty well. So he's still out there. So we'll see how that goes. I guess he's the primary backup for them.
Yeah, he's first or second. Oh, he's on he'll be on the team. I don't know if he's second or third string, but it is funny seeing him in a Chiefs jersey.
Weird.
Given everything considered.
Yeah.
Because he was on the Rams, the Eagles, now the Chiefs and Colts.
Colts too, that's right.
Which is just bizarre. He's kind of having a Fitzpatrick-style career with a couple extra injuries.
Yeah.
So kudos to him for still being on a team, honestly, given how his career went from Nick Foles winning the Super Bowl to Colts.
The ultimate slap, right?
Yeah, not the best thing you want to see, but, plenty of stuff happening in the NFL.
Speaking of fish, you want to mention Tua and Coach Flores getting into it a little bit?
Yeah, so this past week, I don't know when the interview came out or when the comments were made necessarily, but Tua was kind of whining about how Brian Flores was treating him. I guess he was the coach there before Mike McDaniels, right when Tua was there?
Yeah. And
then Brian Flores had a way of coaching that Tua found to be not very helpful. Oh, he was kind of whining about it. It was it sounded like it was harsh love.
Like he was dissed or whatever.
Yeah, he felt disrespected. Maybe there was elements to it where it's I think it's valid to some extent, but also once you get to the NFL, it's kind of your job now. You kind of have to be like, okay, I guess I can't act like I know how you have to be, but it's a job,
right?
You have a job. You're not in high school. You're not in college with
right.
Oh my God, Alabama's coach Nick Saban. Yeah. There's expectations. Especially in his situation where he was taken 3rd overall, 4th overall, and then, immediately started that season, I'm pretty sure, around Fitzpatrick, maybe?
I think so.
But yeah, he didn't like the way he was treated, I guess.
A little bit, my opinion, just maybe a little bit whiny.
It felt that way.
Brian Flores came out and said, he handled it in stride. Hey, I've learned things. I learned from that situation. I'm a better coach now. So I thought Coach Flores handled it well. Yeah. I think, Tua, it's like, why even go there now?
True.
It's done, gone. You're getting ready to start a new season. Anyway.
Yeah, no, and things have been a lot better, given they haven't won a playoff game. But also, it's like, with Mike McDaniels, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Achane, Mostert.
Yeah.
You kind of have one of the best offenses in the NFL.
Yeah, for sure. So.
Everyone on this podcast knows how I feel about Tua, so I'm trying to bite my tongue because I didn't watch the full interview. I just saw a couple headlines.
Yeah.
So who knows how he really delivered it, but the clip I did see, it sounded a bit like, little whiny. And again, I'm trying not to put my foot where I don't know exactly how it was worded, but it did come off whiny at the time. Yeah, so DirecTV and Apple, I don't know if it's partnered or it came to terms on Sunday Ticket being offered on the Apple store or being offered to buy through Apple on the app, I think is how it works, either with YouTube or whoever. But if you do it that way through your iPhone or Apple product, it's going to cost $700, which is absolutely insane. Feels a little bit like a slap to the face after, Sunday Ticket just got done with a massive dispute, court case, lawsuit about it costing too much, and then they're just like, bam. Yeah. And I know Apple, when you buy things on your smartphone devices, Apple takes, I think, a 30% cut of it.
Really?
So that's potentially also why it was marked up so high. If you're already costing, I don't know what the baseline is for a season. If it's like $350 and Apple takes 30% of that, that comes out to about 100, 110-ish. So I could definitely see why, if the NFL wants to get their full 400 and Apple's going to take 30%, you got to add that 30% to it so they still get their full cut of the deal. So I found that was absolutely crazy.
Yeah, pretty nutty, huh?
Yeah, but hey, that's just the world we live in, I guess, now.
Yeah, that's how the teams get their $500 million annual, payment from the NFL.
It definitely feels like sooner rather than later they're going to start offering, like, some sort of deal where you can watch all of one team. You
Agreed.
can pick a team. You can pick maybe Sunday night. Well, I guess all those are local channels,
Yeah,
but
I think you're on the right track because I think you're going to be able to buy individual games.
yes,
That'll be
pay-per-view,
like a
$50,
$20
yeah.
or whatever it is. If you buy that whole team season, it's going to be less per game. If you buy the whole season for all the teams, less per game, but the package keeps going up in total, right?
Yeah, with how much noise that lawsuit generated this year, I would not be surprised if they start adding more flexible options because I think more people would buy it if, I could only buy the Titans games,
Right.
Cowboys, Chargers, that aren't necessarily in market for us. And there's a large audience for that, and I think they'll find that out very quickly. But the other side of it is I know social media, there's a lot of people that firmly believe that it should all be free.
Okay.
And that crowd's getting quite loud, but pirating will always be available. So frankly, I will never admit to doing it, but it's out there. You can find it quite easily. And I know that, it's not hard to find.
Right.
But aside from that, I think that's all we got this week.
I think that's 41.
That's 41, baby. Next week.
Yes.
What are we...
Coming up, huh?
Yeah. I guess you'll have to wait and see what next week's all about. And we're going to leave it a surprise because the week after, when's the day of the first game, that'll be more of our breakdown of what we think is going to happen. Previews of the entire week, I guess, technically the week slate.
And probably make our Super Bowl predictions in that one as well.
Yes, and
so
a bunch of picks from your boy himself. I've been working on the model, and, we're looking to have a 100%er season.
Right on.
I guess we go back to picking our over-unders, too, if we wanted.
Fun
just
stuff.
For fun. I can't... Did we finish like 8-8?
We did pretty well.
Was it like
we started slow and then finished strong, I think? Or
we up
in the middle?
Down,
yeah, you're right. It's more like
back
a bell.
up. I think we had it even.
That sounds right.
God, I'll have to check the tapes. But nevertheless, thank you all for watching. We will see you next week, and thank you all for watching.
Thank you.